I cheated on my husband and he found out. Can we still work it out?
I 27F have been with my husband 29 meters on and off since high school. I was 14 and he was 16. We got married and have kids together. Things had been rough between us for a very long time. The relationship started out very abusive. But I brushed it off because we were young and I believed we could grow out of it. We did after a while. But about 1 year after getting married 4 years ago or so, I started to reach out to people online because I started to feel so alone and the pressure of everything started to get to me. Not an excuse. Just what happened. I met a man online and we started talking. At first he was just giving me advice on how to make my marriage better. But then as time went on, things became more intimate and we began sexting and video calling. We never met in person, but talked a lot almost every day. My husband found out one day and everything went to hell. I stopped talking to the other man and knew what I did was wrong. I spent the next 4 months doing everything I could to try and make up for it in any way I could think of. Things became very ugly between us. He became abusive again. Worse than ever before. Like borderline torture sometimes. I put up with it and accepted it as my punishment for betraying and hurting him as badly as I did. But after 4 months of it, it became harder and harder to keep just putting up with it. One morning a few months ago, he woke me up very abruptly. He asked me into the living room and pointed at the computer. He found a picture of the man I was texting before. At this point, I had no more strength in me to keep putting up with everything. I told him that I wasn't going to do this again, talk about the other man, because there was nothing more to say. I told him everything and he saw everything. He was very angry and I said, "If you want to leave me, then just leave. I'm not going to do this for the rest of my life." I turned to walk away and get ready for work and he jumped me. Literally jumped me. Beat the hell out of me. Broke my finger and kicked me in the head with his steel-toed boot. Twice. Then took my phone, the internet box and the car and left me there bloody and broken. The kids did not see anything. Thankfully. I had to go out and ask someone to borrow their phone to call 911. It was humiliating. I ended up in the hospital and he was eventually arrested. I was informed that he had attempted suicide. I was so heartbroken. I still love him. So I decided I would just show love to him and show him that even with this happening, I knew it was my fault. And I wanted to make it right. So the past few months have been up and down. Good and bad. I have been working hard to try and get his charges from the state dropped or reduced at the very least. Been trying to be as sweet to him as I could possibly be. The issue now is, he still brings up the cheating. And when he does, it usually leads to a fight and sometimes he's put his hands on me. And other times just yell. The physical abuse has died down a lot. I know it is something he will probably hurt over for the rest of his life. But I will too. I have regained less than half my mobility in my finger and that will most likely be all the mobility I get back for the rest of my life. I will never be able to play guitar the way I used to. The cold is agonizing at the break. My finger bends slightly crooked now. My hand is ugly to me. Time won't change it. And as for my head, I struggle with memory now. I have slight speech flubs. Writing this post alone has taken me almost all 3 hours because I can't remember what I wrote. I have to keep going back to reread it in order to continue. I don't bring up my injuries. I don't want to throw it at him like that because despite what he did, I know what the reason was. Understand that I am not excusing the abuse. I know it's wrong. I just understood why, but I can't seem to get that in return for what I did. I want to fix this. I want to be happy with him and our kids. But I'm beginning to lose hope. Is it even possible? Is it selfish of me to want to call us even and just move forward? Is it wrong to want to start with a clean slate for both of us? Thank you for letting me rant. I don't expect much in return. But I guess it does feel a little good to get it off my chest. Have a good day everyone. Sorry for all of this. Edit. I'm sorry if I do not reply to everything. In a lot of cases, I just don't know what to say. I understand where all of you are coming from and it honestly does help to feel some kind of support. I'm not trying to excuse everything that my husband has done. Not at all. I'm only stating I understand the reason. I am not a stupid person. Just overly hopeful, I guess. I have a professional office job in the legal department. This whole thing just became a mess. I understand that divorce is very much a possibility. I only want to do absolutely everything I can before reaching that point. Edit 2. Thank you all for the responses. I truly appreciate it all. I have been thinking about everything said and seeing what I can do on my end of things. I am seeking professional help for all of us. Whether my husband and I stay together. I understand that this needs to be made a priority for all of our sakes. Thank you all again. TLTR. I cheated on my husband. He found out, became very abusive and eventually put me in the hospital. I want to call it even and move forward. But he still won't let go of the cheating. Can we move forward? Story 2. I cheated on my husband of 13 years. Trying to work things out. We have been married for 13 years and have 2 kids. We are both 34. Somewhere along the way, things got stale. As they do after you have kids. Get comfortable in your roles with each other, etc. In this staleness, my husband became married to his work. He is very good at what he does. And making money. I know at first, he was making a better life for me and my kids. But at one point, it became about his success and how far he could go. I have always appreciated his work ethic and desire to provide for us, and he was extremely good at it. He began pushing us away and had even gone as far as to say he wasn't sure if he was in love with me, but just comfortable with our relationship. I didn't read too much into that at first because I knew that this must be something all long-term couples go through. But it began to weigh on me. I threw myself at him. I bought lingerie. I made little surprises through the day for him. I texted love notes. Blah blah blah. I begged for counseling. But he refused time and again. And then I realized he was married to his job. He was out of town half the time, and when he was home, he was firmly planted on the couch, playing video games or surfing Reddit. He gets a job offer that will move us away. I asked him not to take it. The money wasn't much more and would have uprooted our family. He decided to take it, put our house on the market and travel back home on the weekends. Shortly after he took the job was the first time I cheated on him. I had been in contact with an ex-boyfriend from high school. I had no sexual attraction to him. It was truly just friendship. He was visiting my town, and I agreed to go see a show with him. From the moment we saw each other again, sexual tension was high. We got drunk. I kissed him and ended up sleeping with him that night. I knew it was wrong. I had no intention of it happening and the guilt was crushing. At the same time, it was exhilarating to be desired again. We continued to chat on FB, Skype, talk on the phone occasionally. I eventually began pushing him away and ignoring his sexual talk. And then, it was just over. We still would chat occasionally on FB. But it was always short and no hints of sex. I never intended to tell my husband. The next time it happened, a friend of a friend expressed interest in me. Our mutual friend said, "Stay away. She's married." Well, he didn't. We became Facebook friends. And eventually I slept with him. 2. This went on for about 2.5 months. He ended it because he wanted to start dating someone who was actually available. I didn't want it to end. I was so caught up in the bubble of being desired and fulfilled. We stayed friends. And still spent a good deal of time together. Though not sexually. My husband decided to check my internet history because he was suspicious of our friendship. He found evidence. Confronted me. I denied it at first. But I came clean about him. I didn't give all the details. And we both went through the harrowing experience of him prying it all out of me. He decides to take me to a polygraph exam. I failed it and we went through another round of him prying details out of me about the other affair. Now it's all out in the open. We have been going through counseling. And things are honestly better all the time. He is a more attentive father and husband. And I am being transparent and honest with him about everything. I let him check my phone records, texts, internet history. He has access to all my emails. I don't complain about this at all. I understand it and am willing to be an open book. I also signed a post-nup that takes my name off the house and everything else we own. I know that probably wasn't a smart move. But I thought it would be a huge step in gaining his trust back. This has all happened over the past 7 months. Last week, he asked me to submit to another polygraph. Out of the blue. I am resistant to taking it because I feel like it's not constructive. It doesn't move us forward. He feels like there's something else I'm not telling him because he had to drag everything else out of me. I feel like if I take it, it's just going to hamper his healing. And keep him from learning to trust again. I am terrified of failing it. Though I will be telling the truth. I know that we will never be the same again. I make no excuses for my choices. They were wrong and I feel horrible. We are both mourning the death of our relationship and the death of what our relationship could have been. I truly believe that we love each other and want to be together and can have a new future. I don't know if we can do that if he doesn't take a leap of faith. TLDR. I cheated on my husband with 2 men because I was selfishly feeling neglected and we are trying to find a way to help him trust me again. How can I help him heal? How can I deal with the soul-crushing guilt? Thank you for watching. If you enjoy my video, please subscribe and leave like.